Good morning, everybody. This is Kim Danke coming to you live on this Friday morning, June 10th, 2022. And I pressed live before I had looked at everything. So I'm going to keep moving right along. And we're 161 days into the 2022 edition of the Game of Life. And the word of the day for 365 names, titles, and attributes of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit is Jehovah Nisi. Jehovah Nisi. Yesterday it was Jehovah Shalom, which means our God of peace. And then Jehovah Nisi means our banner. God is our banner. And that goes right along with what I titled the Shibby show today. Be a kingdom person everywhere you go. At home, at church, at work, out in public. Be a kingdom person everywhere you go. So today's Friday and we've made it to the weekend, and I want us to think about what we're going to do going into the weekend. If you are not at your goal weight yet, it might be a good weekend to have perfect days, because that momentum that you have gotten during the week of perfect days can be either improved upon or halted depending on what you do on the weekend. So if you're trying to lose, go ahead and have a perfect weekend to try to continue that momentum. I like to call it deep EFB. When the ecosystem that you have created in your body is optimized, your hormones are rebalanced, you've worked on that, you're in EFB. And I like to call it deep EFB. It just means that when you're giving yourself that calorie deficit by having the right portions, your body is going to have to access the stored energy that is there. It's going to have to access that stored energy. And that's what we want it to do. So to contemplate going into the weekend, not having holidays so that you can get a nice little streak, especially if you're still in weight loss mode. Weight loss mode is a tool mode. And if you aren't already where you want to be, then use the tool as it should be used to get you where you want to be. And then there is a bit more freedom there in maintenance. But like Travis says, we kind of have to redeem the time and get back to where we were before we can learn to balance that out. And yeah, this balancing act is, what I've been doing now for 3 years after losing the 50 pounds and in about 5 months, and I've been balancing that whole time. I'm now 2 pounds away from my 50-pound badge right now, and I'm so excited. So last Friday, I was at 138. This morning, I'm at 137, and I had 4 holidays in the midst of that. See, that should show you that if we get back to doing the exact right thing that Shibboleth teaches us, it gets the ecosystem in our body back right again. It gets the chemistry set up in your body right again. And when you produce the right chemistry in your body, results happen. So y'all contemplate that if you're not at your goal weight, having a perfect weekend, okay? All right, so when you hop on here this morning, please say good morning, where you're watching from, and what type of Shibboleth day you are going to have. I'm going to have an intermittent fasting perfect day. I was contemplating having holidays on Friday, Saturday, Sunday each weekend this month. But when we got to go out to see the baby on Monday, I have a new hairdo this morning. We ate at Waffle House and I wanted the hash brown bowl. So I switched out the holiday that I was planning on having today for no reason, just trying something new in maintenance. I switched that out from Monday. So I will have an intermittent fasting perfect day today. And then I do have 2 holidays that I'm thinking about having over the weekend. We'll see how it goes and what I'm doing. I don't typically start off with a holiday because unless the breakfast is the reason I'm having a holiday, man, there's so much good foods that you can eat for breakfast. And any time of the day, really. I had breakfast yesterday for breakfast and dinner. Anyway, we're going to finish up Colossians today before we go into the weekend. And Colossians is only 4 chapters, so it's pretty easy to do. But yesterday, I underlined so much in chapter 3. And what's so funny is that I underlined so much in chapter 3 because it's all so good. I've been listening to the Word, Through the Word today, Through the Word app with Chris Langham this morning, and he normally does one episode per chapter of the Bible. He's done 3 on chapter 3, and he says just because it's just so powerful. So it was kind of interesting that what he was saying about he felt like he needed to do more on this one chapter, and yesterday I underlined everything. So it's kind of cool how those things go together, that the Lord is using them. I went over into the Shibby show yesterday, the group, not the Shibboleth main page, and I put Tony Evans' stuff in there so you could listen to it, but there was a couple of things that I wanted to point out to us from that. And I hope that y'all been enjoying Colossians. Let me know if you have finished Colossians now or will be finishing it up today. But Colossians 3, 1 and 2. Since you have been raised to new life with Christ, set your sights on the realities of heaven, where Christ sits in the place of honor at God's right hand. Think about the things of heaven, not the things of earth. Okay, just going to stop right there. What things are we supposed to think about? The things of heaven, not of earth. And this is what Tony Evans says, and it can sound a little bit hard, but I do think it has a lot of truth in it, and it's very important for us to hear hard things at those times when we aren't doing quite the right thing, okay? So it says, unfortunately, many modern Christians are out of their minds. What do I mean? Well, if you've had bad habits that you can't control, you have a mind problem. Actions originate in your thinking. You may assume you can just break your bad habit, but you must begin to pry it loose in your mind. If there is no change to how you think, there will be no substantive change in how you live. This is why Scripture calls for the renewing of your mind. Paul wants us to understand that our minds will determine our well-being. Our minds will determine our well-being. The only source for a victorious new mind is where Christ is seated at the right hand of God. Therefore, we are to set our minds on the things above, not on earthly things. Believers must be tuned into the heavenly broadcasting network to receive the data needed for daily living. The problem is that too many of us frequently change the channel to faulty programming. Some embrace unbiblical data from the world and then wonder why their lives are a wreck. We'll never become spiritual by using the world's methodology. Victorious living requires a shift of focus. We must have a heavenly mindset for earthly action. Paul is not saying think about heaven all day so that you will know how to live when you get there. Rather, he says, in essence, take a good look at heaven's perspective on every issue so you will know how to live on earth. We need a kingdom mentality if we expect to receive heavenly benefits. And then there's this one section here in verses 3, 8 through 11, and he's talking about putting to death our earthly nature. And Tony Evans will often give these little analogies that just make a lot of sense to me. He was talking about taking a shower, and he says after you take a shower, you naturally put on clean clothes. They complement what the shower was designed to do, and Jesus Christ cleansed us with his blood. What I underlined is this: will those clothes, ask yourself this, will those clothes match what Jesus did in my life, or will they dirty up what Jesus made clean? Now, kind of goes along with what I said earlier about being in deep EFB. And if we have our body primed and ready and efficiently burning fat, I want you to think carefully about whether or not that food that you want to put in your mouth is going to complement what's going on in your body. Is it going to be the right thing to do or not the right thing to do? Is it, at this point in time, there's food really isn't inherently bad. We just have to know how to manage it. And we were talking about in class last week that some people just naturally have it. Patricia said that she was talking to a neighbor, and then her neighbor goes, oh, well, we eat our biggest meal at breakfast and a little lighter one for lunch and then the lightest one at dinner. And that's just what they naturally have figured out to do. And they've just been thin people. She's never noticed that they've had a weight problem or anything. So it's just funny that some people just inherently figure it out. Well, if you don't have it inherently figured out, something, you got to have a system to allow you to have success and manage it. All right. And that's what Shibboleth does for me. It helps me manage this. It gives me reasons to say no, gives me a plan. We all need a plan. So ask yourself before you're taking yourself out of EFB, ask yourself, is this going to optimize my performance or not optimize my performance? It's like putting clean clothes on or dirty clothes on after a shower. So just a fun little analogy to think through. Okay, then we finish up with chapter 4. And in chapter 4, Tony Evans called this section Kingdom People in the Home, on the Job, and in the Church. And I just titled it, Be a Kingdom Person Everywhere You Go. And so, let's see. In Colossians 3:21. Colossians 3:21 says, Fathers, do not aggravate your children or they will become discouraged. And what he's talking about there is discipline, but in a reasonable way. And so I wanted to read you what Tony wrote. He says, never does a loving father want to exasperate his children and cause them to become discouraged. When you correct your children, you want to break their will, their stubbornness, without breaking their spirit. Okay, and that's a balancing act. That's a delicate situation with parenting. And if you're a teacher or you're a Sunday school teacher or, any authority over children, that's a balancing act right there. But we have to also think about this. I like to think about it in terms of us, like coaching ourselves daily. How can we use this bit of information to coach ourselves daily? Well, I highlighted the goal is to lead them to willing obedience and righteousness. So we do the things that we do with Shibboleth to lead ourselves to willing obedience to it. I get to do this every day, not I have to do this every day. And I do want to have do the right thing. God takes the same approach with us, reminding us that in Hebrews 12:11, no discipline seems enjoyable at the time, but painful. Maybe you're not really enjoying weight loss mode, but you know that this is something that the Lord is drawing you to do. He's drawing you to be healthier. And one of the health markers that we have is weight. As Travis always says, love yourself where you are, okay? But if the Lord is drawing you to improve that particular health marker, then do it. And while you're doing it in the beginning, you may not be enjoying it, but just know, when you discipline your children, they may not be enjoying it. You may not enjoy it, but we all know that it's beneficial in the end. Later on, however, it yields. Okay, what does it yield? It yields the peaceful, what kind? Peaceful fruit of righteousness to those who have been trained by it. Let your mind and your heart and your actions and your habits be trained. And Shibboleth, understanding what to do in Shibboleth is not hard. It is the making ourselves do what we don't want to do. That's the part that's hard in the beginning, okay? But it becomes easier the more that you do it. We need to know of the value God places on us. See, God has got a lot of value placed on you. And we want to make sure that we're living like that. Okay, that would be in a way that would be representing him as a kingdom person everywhere out and about. So 23 through 25. You're thinking, dang, don't read that much, lady. Work willingly at whatever you do as though you were working for the Lord rather than for people. Remember that the Lord will give you an inheritance as your reward and that the master you are serving is Christ. But if you do what is wrong, you will be paid back for the wrong you have done, for God has no favorites. Okay, so Tony Evans says, work like it is something done for the Lord. So I was listening to Travis's video from yesterday. He was on fire yesterday. If you want to hear it was louder than normal. So if you're willing to listen to something louder than normal, he was on fire. Then go listen to it because it's the type of thing that some people need to hear at just the right moment. Okay, so work for the Lord. If you're not willing to do it for yourself, do it for the Lord. let your motivation be spiritual. Since you work for God, you are to produce excellence. Since you produce excellence, you should satisfy your earthly employer and your customers. Now, we're talking about, I'm talking about this as in for Shibboleth. Make no mistake with God, nothing goes unnoticed. As a result of your faithfulness, faithfulness is done over time, over and over and over again. Just like if you do the Shibboleth lifestyle faithfully, it will become part of who you are as well. You will receive the reward of an inheritance from the Lord. What a wonderful reward. The feeling good in your own skin, the feeling good in your clothes, shopping in your own closet. I read a post the other day that a lady made on the Shibboleth, her blog. She wrote this on her blog, and I took a picture of it because I thought it could resonate with other people. Let's see if I still get it. She wrote in here, this was her why, because that is part of doing the fast track, writing your why. So she wrote her why. I want to be healthy. I want to walk upstairs without having a hard time breathing. I want to be comfortable in my own skin. I want to be comfortable in my clothes. I want to be disease and illness free. I want to cure my GERD. I want to be happy. I want to show that I can. I want back to where I was before. Okay, so those are the reasons. So she can go back and she can continue to look at that. And we can too. We can know the reasons that we're doing this and receive that reward in the end. Okay, and then verses 4, 3 through 6. Okay, pray for us too. So this is the farewell and the prayers of this, the final, the ending of this letter that Paul wrote. Devote yourself to prayer with an alert mind and a thankful heart. Pray for us too, that God will give us many opportunities to speak about his mysterious plan concerning Christ. That is why I'm here in these chains. Pray that I will proclaim the message as clearly as I should. Live wisely among those who are not believers and make the most of every opportunity. Let your conversation be gracious and attractive so that you will have the right response for everyone. And I highlighted, this is a reminder that Christians must pray for pastors, missionaries, and themselves, that God would open doors with unbelievers so that they will hear the mystery of Christ. Behave wisely with regard to non-believers and don't waste opportunities to share the gospel. Combine tact with spice. Our witness should be crafted for each person in his unique situation so that the gospel message is applied rightly to those who need to know about the Christian faith. This goes along with talking about Shibboleth, okay? When I'm sitting at a table like I was the other night, I had a friend there who had just joined Shibboleth. She was excited about it, and we were chit-chatting. Do you know, I purposefully say the things that I say to attract the other people at the table to talk to me about it. I do that at all luncheons. I do that at the grocery store. I mean, I'm always looking for opportunities. Looking for opportunities to talk about Jesus too, because it's fun. It's fun. And this just goes together with what we can do for both of those things. But I want to go back to where it says that Paul was reminding them to pray for him and his ministry. And I would like for us to remember to pray for Travis and this ministry. Pray for Travis and this ministry, that people see the value in it and they see that it's so life-changing that they want to become a monthly partner and giver. You know, we pay for a lot of other things monthly that aren't even doing us the help that this lifestyle does. So let's not take advantage of things that are doing the right thing for us. All right, last but not least, somewhere in 10 through 17, he says, I also wanted the churches to pass around the letters he had written, which shows, and this shows how Paul's first letters were circulated. Word of mouth. Grassroots word of mouth. That's what that's all about. And we do that with Shibboleth, I know. But are we representing it well? When we go out and about, are we being the best representative of Shibboleth and the Lord that we can? I just like that those two things are connected for me. And Travis was saying last night on that video, or yesterday on that video, that one of the reasons that he didn't enjoy other programs that could have worked for him was because they weren't Christ-centered. I love that this is Christ-centered. It's just so exciting. All right, well, we finished Colossians. I don't know what I'm going to go into next, but maybe I'll have that decided by Monday, and we can start something new. But I'm going to see who's on here with me this morning. Let's see. Charlene, good morning from Michigan, having a perfect day. Hey, Ron, good morning from Lilburn on a perfect day. Amanda, oh, thank you, Amanda. I appreciate it. She's having a perfect day. She hopes everyone has a great weekend. Hey, Michelle from Michigan, having a perfect day. Cheryl Davis, IMF Day in Clarksville, Georgia. Cheryl says, I'm doing End Times with Through the Word with Chris, since I'm also going through Revelation. Thank you for telling us about this app. You're welcome. I love to share the things that I find on my, just in clicking. I'm a clicker. I'll check it all out. And it's really nice to have the additional things, especially if you've already read it for yourself once. Y'all, at least read a chapter for yourself once and let the Lord speak to you through it before you go to other sources. I'm sure Cheryl has read Revelation before. So now she's doing it again. She can do it alongside some other things. That's wonderful. Great, Cheryl. Thank you, Allison. Yeah, guess what I put in my hair today? Old school hot curlers. Good morning, Chris. IMF Day, Jacksonville, Florida. Good morning, Tina Goodson. Glad you're here with us this morning. Good morning, Colleen from Michigan, having a perfect day. Good morning, Polly. Loving life and starting a perfect day with belief in my heart for a successful day. That's awesome, Polly. You got it. Hey, Dana, good morning. Still in Huxley, Iowa. And hello to Hannah and Timmy. So glad that you're getting to enjoy them. Hey, Diane, good morning. Like the hairstyle. Thank you. Have a great weekend. You too. Thank you for sharing. Y'all, hit that share button for us. Let people know what we have going on here in the Shibboleth lifestyle. I hope that they would want to join us and be a part of what we're doing for their sake, not just for our sake. We do it for our sake, but we want them to want it for their sake. All right, y'all have a blessed and wonderful day. Go ahead and journal your day. I've already marked IMF Day. I've already seen it says I'm on pace to lose 8.8 pounds in the next 5 weeks. I'm glad it's saying that. I don't see 8.8 coming because I don't try to do that really, but I always look. That's why I'm telling you this, so that you start to look. You start to look at those notifications and stick to your guns today. Whatever you decide, stick to it for yourself. Stick to it. Joy comes in the morning. When are you going to be happy about what you did today? In the morning. So joy comes in the morning. Let that be an encouragement to you. Y'all have a great day. Thank you, Kathy. I appreciate that comment about my hair. She says, good morning from Michigan. All right. Bye, everybody.